Welcome back, everyone, to our Enterprise Trucking Summit here. Excited to bring you another great FreightWaves event. We had an excellent keynote earlier today, but I'm very excited for this guest in particular because this is something, I'm very passionate about in this industry, and our guest clearly is as well. We're going to be diving into how all of our fleets can start to attract and retain more women, of course, in this male dominated industry that we're all loving a chance to be a part of. And with us today is the president and CEO of Women in Trucking, Jennifer Hedrick. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us again for this wonderful event.
Thanks, Grace. Good to see you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and I really love this discussion because I think if anything, we're not only attracting women, but keeping them here, right? We already have a retention problem when it comes to the average driver. I can't imagine what that's like from the women's perspective as well. Let's start with you and a quick introduction of what Women in Trucking is doing for the industry in case there's anyone watching who isn't familiar.
Great way to start. So Women in Trucking is a trade association. We were founded in 2007 by Ellen Voya, recently retired, as president and CEO. And the goal for Women in Trucking is pretty simple, is to increase the employment of women in transportation, to celebrate successes and to eliminate barriers. We're 8,000 members strong, 8,000 plus members strong. Our membership is very diverse, and we like to say it includes the driver to the C-suite. So we have owner operators in all sorts of positions in between, right on up to CEOs of some pretty major companies that are part of Women in Trucking and participate actively.
It's incredible. Again, I think especially this initiative is something that needs to stem from the top, right, in order to really pull off. We'll get into some of those strategies here in a second. I want to start off with what the culture looks like today. In
Mhm.
particular, what are the current representation statistics that we have of women in the industry today as well?
Mhm. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have just quite a range of members throughout Women in Trucking Association. And so when we look at that, we are looking at women who enter the industry with specific goals and targeted to trucking. So mechanics and drivers and those specific positions that make the industry literally run in those targeted ways. And then we have others that kind of land here that may have gone to school to be an accountant or an HR professional, who have entered into companies that focus very specifically in trucking and transportation, and love the industry and continue to help us flourish and make it grow. And so we're seeing more and more women enter in a variety of different roles in trucking. And so it's been exciting for us as an organization to try to help spread the word about these positions, but as you mentioned, to help retain female representation in this industry as well.
Let's start with some of these challenges, right? Like in the work that you're doing every day, when you're hearing from professionals on this, because I think you're seeing across most leadership roles there's that want to attract more women, right? But what are the challenges that are coming from not only attracting more women to this field, but the retention aspect of it as
Mhm.
well?
So there are a lot of aspects that we deal with in terms of eliminating barriers. And again, that's part of our mission, as I mentioned, but some of that's myths that we have to eliminate. And a lot of, various myths include, well, women aren't cut out to do these sorts of roles. Women aren't strong enough to drive a truck and to handle all of the various responsibilities of loading and unloading associated with that. There's no flexibility in this industry, and so to accommodate a woman who may have caregiving responsibilities, whether that's children or aging parents or other relatives, that sort of thing, that they will not be able to do jobs within this industry because of the lack of flexibility. And so those are just a couple of myths that exist that we seek to eliminate. And so that's a big challenge. But we go out into the world, we have conversations like this, we go to truck shows and different industry events and other school events and that kind of thing to educate women and young girls that there's a place for them in this profession.
Yeah. I personally love talking about them, especially, I was a big Girl Scout, big fan of collecting those badges as I grew up as well. And I really do actually look back at those experiences and think that's the reason why I've always been so curious about different types of industries and how I can be a part of them as well. So I really appreciate that like grassroots perspective that women in trucking has of not. I mean, it's really not even just educating women on this industry, but even engineering roles, like you said, right? And like all these different kind of like sectors of the industry. It's not just trucking like we're focused on today. So kudos to you on the retention side. How does that what are the challenges behind that, and what work is women in trucking doing to make sure, okay, now we have them in the industry, let's make sure that we don't lose them as
Mhm.
well.
A number of the companies that are part of Women in Trucking Association pay very close attention, obviously, to retention and how to provide programs for their employees that keep them there. And so many of them have what are known as employee resource groups, and many of them are focused on women, a range of issues, but range of issues and populations. But many have these ERGs, as they're called, or business resource groups. People refer to them as different things. They have them within their companies to make sure that people are coming together within their companies and are able to share their experiences. So creating an inclusive environment where women can talk to each other about their experience in that company, their experience in the industry, ensuring that they have what they need to do their jobs, whether that's in a corporate office, or if that's driving a truck or working in some other area in logistics specific positions, that they have what they need to do that. It gives them an outlet and a resource as well to talk through certain issues and challenges, and companies are listening to that. And so I think the companies that are doing that are having opportunities to be more successful at retention, because they're taking that feedback and they're hearing what the challenges are, and using that not only to assist the current employees, but in their recruitment efforts. And that's key as well when you're looking at retention for future employees as well.
Yeah. No, also when I think of retention, just even thinking about the women around me, right? Like we get very motivated, and we're not just a kind of what am I doing today, but more of what can I do tomorrow. And when I think about that, I always think of kind of the mentors around me and the people that have helped
Mhm.
elevate me to continue a career in this space as well. What work is Women in Trucking doing to provide even mentorship and those types of support to keep women here and help them, you know, get through the rankings as well that we see in this industry?
Mhm. We have such a community of advocates for mentorship, and it's so great to be a part of that. We've got our own mentor program within Women in Trucking, and so we encourage people who are part of our organization to join that program, and it matches you up with um, individuals who are interested in either being a mentor or being a mentee. And it doesn't necessarily have to be by your profession. So you can connect with other women who might be in a position that you aspire to be in, or might be with a company that you aspire to be with. But we keep those opportunities fluid, so that women have the flexibility to choose in that way. And we've also seen a number of our leaders and our board. It's been really exciting for me to see this develop in the last year and a half that I've been here. But our board leadership is very dedicated to bringing up women in their own companies, bringing up women and men in their own companies to serve as leaders of the board. And so they provide mentorship to them in how to be a board member, how to train for being a board member. So really this whole community of mentorship is really just a key part of what we do at Women in Trucking Association. And I just personally feel so pleased to be a part of it because it's just a lot of building up and really really terrific outreach by a lot of folks.
Yeah, and for even men out there, right, who are part of organizations, like you can be a part of those mentorship programs too. So I just hope that I want to lead with that as well, because I think sometimes it's men, you can play a big part in the women around you as well in their careers too. Um, something that was brought up in this, especially in our keynote at the beginning of today's event, was the focus on safety. And when I think about that from a woman's perspective, we just saw a study come out on harassment, and that aspect of safety, right, within the industry as well, and discrimination too. We've seen difficulties in those areas. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do in promoting that aspect of safety, right? Not just making sure that the truck is staying on the road and that, the passenger vehicles, all of those individuals are safe, but that women feel comfortable in the space and joining this industry as well.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that. Great work from ATRI and so many different organizations in making sure that we have the information and data available on issues such as safety and truck parking and so many issues that drivers and others have to encounter day to day. And so, on the safety front, we're fortunate to have a really terrific group of drivers who are part of our image team. And they represent women in trucking. They're volunteers, they're members. They represent women in trucking in the media and at other events. And so they take their experiences and they're able to educate others on what they're seeing on the road, what they're seeing at truck stops, what their experiences are day to day, and educating other drivers, educating other potential members of women in trucking and the trucking profession on what to expect out there, and ways to not only what to expect, but ways to maintain a safe environment, ways to protect yourself, and that sort of thing. And so we're just so privileged to work with these women, and grateful for the messages that they share. We also are pretty active in our own research and doing white papers on a number of different things, such as safety. And those are available on our website, womenintrucking.org. But we want to be a resource. And this is a really important area and a barrier for many, to entry to the industry, because they hear different things from different people, and they may decide, rightly or wrongly for them, that this isn't a place for them. However, we want to be sure that they have the right information and they're not listening to myths, and that they've got what they need to make the decision to be part of this terrific industry.
Yeah, happy that your focus is there, because it is, especially when you look at the parking aspect. And I always try to tell the men around me, you don't, until you're in a woman's shoes, you don't know what it's like, being in a dark parking lot, or
Mhm.
or just the things, with putting the keys between our fingers, and these small things that I think as a society we're hoping to eliminate as well. So happy to hear that you're working on that in your role too. I got a couple minutes here. I want to talk about the rest of 2024 and the years coming. You've been in this role for about a year and a half now, and happy to see the leadership that's come from you as well. What is your vision? What is your focus right now, the Women in Trucking group, and where do you see the organization focusing its efforts over the next couple of years?
Mhm. Thanks for that. It's been a quick year and a half. It really,
Yeah.
it really has. And so we have just released our recent strategic plan. So excited about that through 2025. Grateful to the board and other leadership for their work on that. We have some long-term goals through 2032, which is our 25th year of existence as an organization. And so excited to have some opportunities to grow, bring more people into the industry, bring more people into women in trucking as well. We've got a new hire coming on board in the next few weeks, so you'll be hearing from us on that, which we'll be excited to announce. And then, of course, it's only summer, it's only early summer, but we are way deep in our focus on our Accelerate conference, which will be November 10th through 13th in Dallas. Grace, it's a huge event for us. It's a wonderful time to bring together folks from throughout the industry. It'll be our 10th anniversary of that conference. So in addition to what we normally do, we'll be celebrating 10 years of a conference. And so no small task. We're expecting 2,000 people. It's open now for registration and just finalizing content and that sort of thing as well. So all the details on our website, but I would say, looking strategically ahead and focused on conference, or just two areas I think want to mention for folks this afternoon or today.
Yeah, I've attended the conference in the past. For everyone out there, it's really, if you want to learn some of these strategies and hear directly from incredible women in the industry already and what has worked for them, it's definitely the one to go check out. Head to womenintrucking.org, spelled out just like it should be, easy to get to. And Jennifer, I just want to thank you again for joining us for this event and all the work that you're doing as well.
Great. Thank you again, Grace. And always good seeing you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of this wonderful summit.